Hello, welcome to Cardboard History. I'm David, and today I want to show the top 50 cards in my collection and some recent pickups. These top 50, I thought about a couple different ways to do it. This is the first time I've done a video like this. A lot of other people are doing them at the end of the year to kind of recap some things that they picked up throughout the year. And rather than going through the effort of trying to price out everything and figure out value-wise what's my top card, I am just going to go through the top 50 of what I consider to be my favorite cards in my collection. Value does play a lot of a role with this, so you will notice the top cards are going to be more valuable cards, but some of the other cards in here are just cards that have some more significance to me in my collection that nobody would probably give a second thought to if they saw it in a value box or something like that. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in and start with looking at some things that I have picked up recently. These are two different projects that I have been working on. One of them is every year I try to do all of the autographs from the Stadium Club product that comes out for the Cubs. I just love the imagery on this. They're on-card autos, so it's always really clean. So these are a few that I've picked up so far for this year with Luke Little, Daniel Palencia, Jordan Wicks, and Aramis Ramirez. So unlike last year, this year there are some retired players on the Cubs checklist. So Ramirez is one, Billy Williams is another one. I've purchased the card, it just hasn't showed up yet. Been having a lot of issues this holiday season with the post office and things just getting stuck in Columbus for like 3 weeks at a time. So that one's on the way. Still need the Imanaga, who was a redemption. So some of those are starting to come back from Topps now. And then the other one is Fergie Jenkins that I still need for that set. Then I also started picking up some cards from the Topps Gilded. This is a set that Topps puts out for the last couple of years, and it's a higher end version of their Chrome product. And every card is numbered. Most of them are 99 or less. Occasionally they'll have some cast in gold versions that are to 199, and I'm just trying to pick up the either 199 or 99 version for the Cubs for each year. So this is Mervis from 23, as well as Morel from last year. And then for this year, thus far, I've got the Ernie Banks and the Dansby. So I like the way that they took the design this year. Instead of being like an etched gold with the paisley, they kind of leaned into the more neon look of the design this year with the gilded variation. So those are some things I've picked up recently. But now I want to go through the top 50 cards in my collection. And it is a mix of basketball, baseball, and football. But it's probably about 80% baseball. But I'm going to start off with basketball. This is Anthony Edwards' rookie card that was gifted to me by Eric Fortleaf Cards at the National this year. That's why I've got it in this National little bumper holder. But Timberwolves, my favorite team, have been since I've been a kid, and so it's exciting to see Anthony Edwards. They've been off to a little bit of a slow start this year, but hoping they can start pulling it together. This is the other end of what goes back to my collection when I first became a Timberwolves fan back in the 90s when they drafted Garnett and Marbury. And this is an autographed card, and if memory serves me correct, I did a TTM when I was like 10 years old, and this is what I got back. I have no idea if this is authentic or not. I've thought about taking it to a card show and getting it authenticated through JSA. It's obviously a very low-grade, streaky autograph, but something that just kind of reminds me of my childhood and probably has little to no value to anybody that would be a collector, but it's one of my favorite cards in my collection. Next up, this is a Own the Name 1 of 1 for Nico Horner. This card's just kind of special because I hit it out of a break, and the only 1 of 1 card I've ever hit in a break or opened out of a pack. And just love the name patch game used on that. Next up, this is the first card out of many that is part of the Ken Burns collection that I'm doing, trying to collect a card from each player in the Ken Burns documentary. This card was I won in a giveaway with Pepino Man this past year. So this is a new addition in the past year to my collection. The 75 George Brett rookie. And then, let me see if I can keep track of where we are on numbers. So this is number 46, the George Sisler Turf Cigarettes card. Sisler was a great player, but I just love the kind of horizontal layout of this card and the way it depicts him batting with the catcher and the player on deck behind him. I love the imagery of that card. Next up, number 45 is this T206 Sweet Cap of Orville Overall. A big project this year has been trying to put together the T206 set for the Cubs. And this is one that this is probably the first card that got me back into collecting back in 2011. I was doing some research on Cubs history, realized that he was at that time the last player to pitch, to be the winning pitcher in a winning game to win the World Series for the Cubs in 1908. So I picked up this card and then went on to start collecting the other Cubs in the T206 set. This card's another one for this year. This was one that I had targeted back in July that I wanted to pick up by the end of the year. Just an iconic card in the hobby and not overly expensive in an 8 grade, but just a fantastic card for 1989 Ken Griffey rookie card. Number 43. This is a Topps Pro debut. This is a set that I've tried to collect the Cubs Rainbow of for the past 2 years, and I picked out the Ballesteros from 2023. This is the red numbered to 5. Ballesteros is currently my favorite player in the Cubs minor league system, and I got the chance to meet him back when he was playing for the Myrtle Beach Pelicans last year and get a baseball signed by him. And so it's kind of a player that has good memories tied to it with me, and this card being numbered out of 5 out of 5, kind of makes it a special card for me. Next up, number 42 is Christopher Morel. This is a card that I picked up within the last month, and it's one that I've had my eye on for over a year. I was sad to see Morel go, but this was just my favorite from an Appeal iDesign rookie card that he had last year. He was been my favorite player on the Cubs until he got traded, and still one of my favorite players in baseball, just the energy that he brings to the game. So I wanted to include him somewhere in the top 50, and he has the next 2 cards this is number 42 and then number 41. This is the Golden Mirror super short print from his rookie year, and just love this card, being that's from the Field of Dreams game, and you can kind of see the joy that I feel like he brings to the game of baseball. I love the throwback Cubs uniform, loved watching the Field of Dreams game when they played the Reds, so this card is just sort of special for that reason. Now, number 40. 1962 Ernie Banks. This is a Venezuelan Topps. So pretty off-centered and beat up, but many of the Venezuelan cards are, but just part of my collection that I love being able to have some cards from Venezuela as well. Then number 39, sticking with the Ernie Banks theme, this is the 55 Bowman, Ernie Banks' only Bowman card from the early 50s. And there's that. Next up, number 38 is this autographed Ryne Sandberg rookie. Sandberg's just a great player. Did some TTM with him this year. I've been following sort of his journey with cancer, and just unfortunate to hear that it's kind of come back. So certainly praying for him and his family as he kind of gets back to battling against that. All right, that brings me to number 38 and the first football card in the collection. And this is, again, a card that probably doesn't have a lot of value to many other people, but I am a player collector for Andy Isabella. And I started collecting him shortly after my daughter Isabella was born. And he was drafted to the Cardinals the same year that she was born. Didn't name her anything after him or anything like that. Just happened to like the fact that he shared the name with her. So I have an autographed jersey and things like that, and just kind of started collecting him. So this is the 1 of 1 from Elements, a series that they put out in 2019 that I really enjoyed the design of. So this is the 1 of 1 Elements of Success dual patch card. Continuing then on the Andy Isabella train, this is one that, again, I picked up in the last couple, probably just came in like a day or two ago. The gold vinyl 1 of 1 from Spectra. And then another Andy Isabella 1 of 1. This one is kind of fun for me because I found it in a value box at a card show really close to me. I was just digging through a value box and came across this 1 of 1, was able to work out a really good deal on it, and went on to put together the entire rainbow for this autograph set. But it's just kind of fun for me that I was able to find this in a value box for a player that not a lot of people collect. Then going back to the Element set, this is the base card 1 of 1. And what I like about this set is that the cards are actually made out of metal, so they're significantly heavier. Here on the back is the 1 of 1. But I like this. So this comes in then at, let me see on my list, number 34, and number 33 is the autographed version 1 of 1. So this, I tried to put together the entire rainbow for the entire product line, and I'm missing about 5 cards, like 3 1 of 1s, and then 2 out of 5 from having the entire product from all of the insert cards that he has in that product. All right, next up, back to some baseball. Number 32 kind of goes along with number 31, so I'll put them both up there at the same time, but this is the 1961 Topps Ron Santo rookie, along with the 1961 Billy Williams rookie card. Both of these are iconic players in the Cubs organization, having their rookie card in the same year, and just had to keep those two together in my list. And then next up, number 30 is this 1948 Topps Magic Photo. So this is what I consider to be the earliest Topps release. It's more of a photo than a card, and it kind of had a self-developing feature on it, but it pictures Tinker and Evers, part of the Evers to Tinker to Chance double play combo. And for my collection, I consider this the first Cubs Topps card. Into the 20s now, and back to some football. Again, this is probably a $5 card, but this was Tom Brady's last season, and this is significant to me because of the date on here was the date that my first child was born, or my wife went into labor. My daughter wasn't born until the following day. But just kind of remembering this game and kind of what was going on in my life personally when this game was being played makes this card somewhat significant in my collection, more so than perhaps somebody else that would just see it. Next up, number 28 is the E91 Frank Wildfire Schultz. And I like this card because I feel like I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but the artistry, the background almost looks like a wildfire. Just the colors, and it looks like a fire behind him. His nickname was Wildfire. And so I feel like the card kind of goes together with his nickname of Wildfire Schultz. Number 27, and whether or not you consider this a card, it's a silk of Frank Chance and blank back on it. But it's actually a piece of fabric. If you've ever seen these before, you can kind of tell it's starting to fray, which is why it's min size not met. These are very tough to get in a numerical grade. But from early 1900s, 1909, the S74 silks. And number 26 is this E90 of Stuffy McGinnis, part of the $100,000 infield for the Philadelphia Athletics. In the early 1900s, Connie Mack, and he put together this fantastic team with the infield that he paid $100,000 to and received that nickname of the $100,000 infield, trying to put together all the players from that infield in this E90-1 set, and this is the first one that I have so far. All right, that is the first 25. Now to the top 25. Going to Hugh Duffy with 1906 Fan Craze. This was a pickup this year from Strongsville. Love this set, love the portraits. A little bit different than the other cards of the era. It's larger. It was a part of a playing card set, but this is the art series. Number 24 is the 1956 Sandy Koufax. Fantastic pitcher for the Dodgers. Love the 56 series. This is not the last one that will show up in the top 25. '33 Gowdy Bill Herman. Rookie. Great player for the Cubs in the 30s and 40s. Just a fantastic card. And one of the great Cubs Hall of Famers. Next up is a kind of another pair of cards that go together, and these are the first two Cuban players to play in the major leagues. Somewhat debatable, but by and largely held that these were the first two that played for the Reds. So Rafael Almeida and Armando Marsans picked this one up this year at the National from Orlando Collector's Dream, and was glad to put together the set for these two players that hold an important place in Cuban baseball history. Next up, 1958 Topps Jimmy Brown rookie card for the Cleveland Browns. This is probably one of the more valuable cards in my collection, but not higher on the list because I'm not really a Browns fan. He's just a great player and great part of card history, and I feel like this is one of the iconic football cards from the vintage era. Next up, this is another Strongsville pickup from this year. The T201 Mega Cigarettes. This is the two-sided, so you have Evers on this side, and on the back is Frank Chance. So kind of love the different design of this card, and that includes two players from the double play combo from the Cubs in the early 1900s. All right, that was number 19. Number 18 is the 1/1 Flawless for Andy Isabella. This is the last football card in the set in my top 25. But this is, I think, one of his only two cards in Flawless from that year. And when it came up on eBay, I knew I just had to buy it right away to kind of complete my collection. So this is, I would say, my favorite Andy Isabella card in my collection. That's why it's number 18. Number 17. This is a card I shared earlier this year, but the W514 Chick Gandil. Gandil was a player on the infamous 1919 Chicago Black Sox, and that's a set that I'm trying to put together in this W514, and this is the biggest card I have so far from that. I just love the history of the card and the player and that series and the story behind it and the lore. So that's why this card comes in at number 17. All right, now we're going to go on a little bit of a run of T206 cards. And these are, in the best order that I could put them, of Cubs T206 cards. Probably one of my favorite parts of my collection is this set. So some of these are in rougher condition. This is Tinker the Bat off shoulder and the Bat on shoulder. Both of these I picked up this year in a poor condition. Obviously they're very rough shape, but really just happy to have the cards in any condition in my collection. So that was number 16 and 15. Number 14 then, Mordecai Brown, throwing. Again, some of these, especially with the Cubs, are hard to find. In decent grades, they go for a lot of money. So I've just been very content to pick these up really in any condition, as long as you can see the player's face and it's not, a half of a card. And number 13 is the Frank Chance Portrait T206. Number 12, Johnny Evers on his portrait. Then another Evers for 11. This is one that probably within the last month came in. Probably bought it like 2 to 3 months ago and it just got stuck in the mail again. So this will get sent off to grading just to get it encapsulated. But that is number 11. So now we're on to the top 10. So number 10 is Frank Chance batting, again in a 1. Number 9, Johnny Evers bat with Chicago on shirt. This one's a little bit rougher condition, but I moved it up higher because it was the first Evers that I picked up, so it has a little bit more sentimentality to me. Then the Tinker on the fielding, T206. There's 2 more. So number 7 then, Mordecai Brown. Off-centered, top to bottom, but other than that, I think a very clean image, very clean card compared to, I guess, the other ones that I have in my collection. And then the final T206 is the Frank Chance. And this is one I picked up probably 15 years ago and just got it graded 2 years ago and was very ecstatic to see it come back as a 3. All right, so that ends the T206 run. Now we've got a couple more prominent players. Jackie Robinson. This is a national pickup from this year, the big card that I got at the National. Love the history of Jackie Robinson and what he means to the game, and was very ecstatic to pick this up at number 5 on my list. Number 4, thinking back, these 3, number 5, 4, and 3 were all pickups from this year. This was an eBay purchase of 1887 Buckner gold coin Roger Connor. It's split down the middle. Still haven't figured out exactly what I want to do with this card, if I want to try to get it restored. But he was the original home run king before Babe Ruth, the career home run leader. And this is one of his few cards. So very happy to pick this up in any condition, even if it is split down the middle. And number 3, this was my first pickup of the year, and probably picked this up even before I had a YouTube channel. So holding the card back here, a fantastic mantle. It is authentic because somebody tried to do a little bit of repair work right there, and doesn't bother me in the least. I have it up in a case. Most of the time I see it about arm's length and can't even tell. So to me, the eye appeal on it's fantastic, and was really excited when I picked this up at the Lima card show back in January. And the top 2 cards. Number 2, this 1932 Sinella Babe Ruth. This was one of my goals from 2 years ago, was to get a Playing Days Ruth card, and this one is just a fantastic card. I love the eye appeal on it. Again, it's a 1 because there's some glue stains on the back. Doesn't bother me at all. Love it. So that is the number 2 card. And finally, the number 1 favorite card in my collection. If you haven't seen it yet, you know I'm a Cubs fan. You know it's got to be the Ernie Banks rookie. So much I love about this card. Just love the smile, the history, what Ernie Banks was to the Cubs as Mr. Cub, and the condition of the card is, in my opinion, just great. I'm not going to go out and buy a 7 or an 8 in this. It's just crazy expensive, and love that has some history to it, was loved, probably been through quite a few hands throughout the years, and now it is the favorite card in my collection. So if you stuck with me all the way to the end, thank you. I know that was a little bit of a long journey. Tried to move as fast as I could. Hope you enjoyed it. Kind of got a little bit of a glimpse into my collection and some of the different areas that I don't always share about, whether that's some of the basketball or football cards. But that is my top 50 cards in 2024 at the end of the year. Hoping at the beginning of next year to come out with a video on some of my goals for the year. Still have to figure out what that is and try to just zone in on what I want to do next year with collecting baseball cards. But again, if you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. This has been Cardboard History.